I didn't have an illness or diagnosis and there was no cure or treatment plan. I was just there until I was better, whatever that meant. So suddenly I was in this totally new world. I was still wondering why I wasn't going back to finish my senior year of high school. It was right before my prom. And I really had to grapple with, okay, like, who am I now when the life I knew as a teenager is gone? I was a dancer. I couldn't, even walk anymore. I couldn't eat. So I didn't really feel like a person because that's such a human thing. And the world as I knew it was totally turned on its side. And so I think because I never really felt like a patient before because I wasn't sick, I didn't know how to act like one. So my way of getting through was just sort of acting like I was healthy. And in a way that helped me become healthy, fake it till you make it, even though the doctors thought I was crazy and psychiatrists thought I was crazy for not being depressed. But, I think I had such a gratitude for still being here. And my biggest fear waking up was that, oh my God, I'm not going to make my mark on the world anymore. Like, as a performer, all I wanted to do was like make a difference and make people happy through like the arts. And so I think that passion in me kept my survival, kept my soul alive, because I think otherwise I would have just become this like medical identity and just totally lose track of who I am. So that led to all of these beautiful discoveries. I discovered actually making art. I ended up writing a one-woman musical about my life, Gutless and Grateful. I ended up doing all of this writing. I started a chocolate business, all of this creativity, because I found for me that was really a really essential survival skill, just creating that helped me create hope when there was no certainty. So that really helped not only get me through the past 10 years, not able to eat or drink a drop of liquid, which was another story, talk about, just wanting an ice cube or something, but it also kept me vital with who I was. So, I was able to say at the end of this, all those, detours in my life, however much of a nuisance and terrible they were, right now they've made me who I am. So I never, came into this from like a, how am I going to make a, career out of this? Although, I really wanted to make something of myself after I was sort of catapulted out of my whole life. But, what I'm doing now sort of started organically from when I realized that sharing my story, not only is it really healing for me and makes me realize what I've been through, but other people could connect with it. And my story was helping other people, which was such a crazy idea to me, because for me, I just felt like such a, alien. But to find out my story was not only relatable, but was helping other people because they thought I was, strong or getting through, that was really just infectious. So that led me to, what I've done now, which is, I've been doing all this writing. I'm working on a book, but mostly, I get to still be a performer and do what I love, but I help other people with it. So my one-woman musical that I wrote about my life, Gutless and Grateful, but I turned into a mental health advocacy and sexual assault prevention program that I've been touring around the country. And, this year I just started taking it to colleges and universities and really talking about, what it was like going numb after a sexual assault, what it's like, coping with all these, mental health issues and physical issues. And, this April, I'll actually be taking it to Hawaii at the International Conference of Diversity and Disability. So my overall goal, and, I'm very new, honestly, to business, to social media, to what it takes to really, make this into a livelihood. So right now, I really want to learn about how to turn these into, courses, and I'd love to lead like a retreat and work with people. So, all of that is on the horizon, but I'm very new to this, but I just know that, with some passion, I've made all this happen so far. So, anything else can be done. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm happy to be blabbing. And I'm going to stop blabbing now.
Blabbing.
Take it away.
I like that. Be blabbing. Be blabbing. Thank you, Amy, for the introduction. And actually, I just realized I forgot to press record. I don't know. Can you press record on your end?
Oh, holy no.
Oh, well, I started it.
But mine is recording. Look at that. So I have it recording. It says it's recording.
Okay, because, yeah, I don't think I got like the first maybe minute what you said, and then I was like, oh yeah, I need to be recording this. So
Oh, wow. I never would have thought of that. My computer is just smarter than me, I guess.
okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Exquisite Wright. I am the entrepreneur therapist. And a little bit about background about myself. I am from Long Beach, where I live in California. I'm from Long Beach, born and raised. I moved to Riverside, California. It's been 16 years now for school. I got my bachelor's in counseling psychology, got my master's in counseling psychology. And I've always wanted to help people. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, but that didn't work out because chemistry was too hard for me. So I ended up choosing to help people who are already here. So that's what brought me or intrigued me and had me choose psychology, because the mind really is fascinating, and why people do what they do is very fascinating. So I went to school, got my master's, and was a social worker, a caseworker. I worked with developmentally disabled individuals, and now I'm working as an MFT intern so that I can get my license to work with entrepreneurs. And I've chosen specifically entrepreneurs because I used to be an insurance agent, and when I did, that was my first dabble at entrepreneurship as an insurance agent. And it was an interesting experience as far as I thought I was disciplined enough because I was a hardworking employee, but I figured after I left my job, that is not as easy as I thought. So me and my husband were struggling. I went into depression. I knew I had to go. I knew I had to work, but I felt defeated as far as really wanting to, or defeated to move. So instead of moving, I spent time just watching TV, and that's it. And I really didn't know how to get out of it. So I would say it was probably about a year where I was depressed and really not moving towards what I should be doing, what I really wanted to do, because I wasn't sure if that was the right choice. So it wasn't until about a year ago I went to an event, and I learned more about myself, and I learned that what I was going through, I'm not alone. And I saw other entrepreneurs going through the same thing that I'm going through, and they were way more seasoned than me. So with that, I decided to know that since I'm not alone, it's time to start moving. That kind of was the beginning of me getting out of my depression. Excuse me. So from there, I just kept on volunteering for this company, motivating the masses. I did that. And then as I continued to volunteer, I continued to learn about myself and learn more about the entrepreneur journey, and realizing that there are ups and downs, but I can get through it. So, and that's why I'm doing this, because on the entrepreneur side, I feel as far as there's a lot of, like, the foundation of entrepreneurship and business owners is a mindset. Mm-hmm. If their mind's not right, you could work your butt off. You might succeed, but in the end, if your mind's not right, you might fail. So, so that's why I want to focus on the mind, because I truly believe once your mind's right, you can do anything and everything you want to. So yes. That's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm doing a blab.
Love it. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, correct. So we talked about who we are, but why did we choose the topic or this theme as far as making things happen, turning difficulties into opportunities? Mm-hmm. So what do you get out of that, Amy, as far as that?
I mean, listen, it depends what you call a difficulty. Most people that I work with, I'm sure you do, when you ask for what a difficulty is, it's something in their life that they didn't expect. You have your life all set out, and you thought you were going to be a doctor, and you didn't expect this to happen, or you to find something else. I didn't expect to get into a coma my senior year of high school. When life gets in the way of our life plans, that's a difficulty. Another difficulty is when there's a loss in our life. When we've lost, a family member. My grandmother, she was a really, really strong support for me, and she died when I was in a coma. So, for me, transforming, difficulties or obstacles into opportunities is first, when you talk about, entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's true. It's such a mindset. And part of a healthy mindset is being present with that difficulty. So it's not to say, oh, it's not that bad. Don't minimize, you don't minimize it. Don't put on a happy face that, oh, it's fine. I can get through it. Be with that difficulty. Acknowledge, did it disappoint you? Did it upset you? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? And, do those things. Get angry, get frustrated, but do it in healthy ways. Don't take it out on yourself. Come up with healthy coping strategies, not, destructive coping behaviors. An example could be, if you're angry and obviously taking it out on someone else, find a healthy way to express that anger. For me personally, art was a great way that I could be with my feelings and express them. And when I sort of felt them, you transform it. Have you ever heard of the phrase like feel the fear and move through it and do it anyway? It's like when you're with hard times, sometimes rather than repress them and run away, you can only really make room for the joy once you really get through the bad. So just punch a wall. It's amazing. All those feelings we have, it's all just energy. It's all the same. So take that, angry energy, frustrated anger, why me? Why did life have to screw me like this? And use it for like creative good. Because like you said, entrepreneurship is a mindset. And, fill that mind with all that energy and, transform it. So when I think of, turning difficulties or obstacles into opportunities, I think of taking that energy that we all have and using that for an opportunity. And you may not know exactly what that opportunity is yet, but you don't have to. So, if you're frustrated and angry, be with that anger and just think, okay, in this moment, what is the best way I can just be with that anger? And don't even plan where that's going to take you. Don't even think, oh, this is going to inspire a novel or this is going to get me the motivation to be like the head CEO. Just be with that and see how it makes you feel. And just, I think that's all working to keep you present and open to opportunities. Because I think, the last thing I'll say is we transform obstacles into opportunities by being open to them. And, the boat of opportunity is always going to come around. But, if you're not open to it, then, it's just going to keep coming around. So that's my take. What about you?
Well, for me, this is take some skill doing both of this. So I'm sorry. Oh, it just went black on me. Hold on. What happened?
I can see you.
I can't see my screen.
Oh, it's someone's first day on Blab, Rafiq.
Okay, hold on.
I
can't see my screen. Okay, hold on. What happened? Oh my gosh.
What happened? I can see you.
Oh.
Can everyone see her?
Technical difficulties. I pressed the light on my computer, so it went dark. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. I was like, why is it black? It's not coming back. Okay, so I was saying Periscope, I'm on Blab, so I'm not trying to ignore you, but I just wanted to, okay, what is this? I'm trying to include you in regards to what I'm doing. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop it up. And thank you for the hearts. Keep the hearts coming. So basically, as far as the title that we chose, Making a Difference, Turning Difficulties into Opportunities, I totally agree with you, Amy, as far as looking at your difficulties in a different way. Because I've run across many clients who basically let their past experience, their past environment determine how they live their future. They feel that no matter what they do, that's the negative will stay, when that's not true. and they really give up. And because I spoke to an 18-year-old, and he was like, I'm 18, life is messed up, it's over. And I was like, you're only 18, you have your whole life in front of you. But many people feel because they're bad past experiences, they just can't get out of it. So that's what this topic means to me, because actually that's how I want to help entrepreneurs, and how I'm going to help entrepreneurs is basically taking those past painful experiences and utilizing those and what you learn to propel you forward, to make a better life, to become better at what you do and your business. Hey, France. And basically just do you and be happy. And you can be happy. It's not too late to change the course of your life. And you could look at, because I've learned from the difficulties in my life as far as how strong a person I am, how can I change as far as interacting with others. So I've learned to take those difficulties, turn them into opportunities as far as how can I become a better person, or what not to do ever again. So that's what this topic really means to me. And I'm really passionate about helping people determine and figure out that just because you had an F life doesn't mean you have to stay in it. So that's what it means to me. And this topic, that's what
and then the thing about that, if you have hit rock bottom and you have no idea how you're going to even start to do these things, the best thing you can do is just, even if you don't know, just lie to yourself. Like, trust that you are capable and just show up and put one step. Exactly. All you got to do is show up. You have 2 feet. Just show up and put one step in front of the other. And if you just trust, and trust is such a scary thing with life and with people, with everything, with ourselves. But if we just trust that if I put one step in front of the other, even if I don't know what's going to happen, you'll get there. And and my favorite kind of affirmation quote, I think everyone has trouble making like decisions, at pivotal time in their life. You have to trust that the decision you made is the right one because you made it. But it has to come from that deep sense, because that decision is going to lead to the next event in your life, and who's to say that's not going to be an amazing opportunity. So a lot of turning difficulties and opportunities is just, like you say, just a mindset.
Yes, it is. It's just a mindset.
It's all in your mind.
It's all in your mind. Yes, believe in yourself. Someone said, believe in yourself. And that's all you have to do. Believe in yourself and know that you do have that power to change it. Yes. Okay, so I think we had kind of touched on, do you feel we touched on why we chose
I think we banged you all over the head.
I think we did.
You're gonna turn a difficult. Okay.
So we chose 2 different topics, or 2 different angles we wanted to talk to you guys today about this specific topic. And I want to talk about as far as identifying, because I want to talk about when you do come into a difficult situation, or you're struggling and you're trying to get past something, sometimes there's a root. Hello, Amy? What just happened? Sorry, technical difficulty on Blab. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Okay, that was weird.
I'm back. That was my fault.
Okay, I was like, oh, what happened? Okay, so basically identifying the pain, because I truly believe as far as when you're dealing with something, and yes, she's on Blab also. Yes, she is. So basically when you're dealing with pain and you're dealing with situations and you keep on repeating them, sometimes is figuring out what's the root of it. And by dealing with the root and knowing the root helps you to be able to move past it in the future and get past, yes, you are seeing me on Periscope. So getting past it. So that's what I wanted to talk about, is identifying the pain. And so I could just get into it, because you were going to talk about the some steps you
Take
can
it
take.
away. Take
Amy?
it away.
Okay. Okay. So basically, identifying the pain, and let me give you a little bit of background as far as why I chose to start there and why I feel identifying the root is first very important. So in high school, I had a best friend, and this best friend, I wasn't able to go to her birthday party. I wasn't able to go to her birthday party because I didn't clean my room at the time, and my mom told me no. So I had to call her and say, I can't come to your birthday party. So that Monday, yes, exactly. So that Monday is, I'm sorry, Blab, if you're kind of confused why I kind of get distracted because I'm on Periscope too.
I'm
So,
confused.
yes.
You just
So, so basically, my mom said no. That Monday, my best friend comes up to me and tells me, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And I was like, okay. And basically, because I didn't go to her birthday party, she was no longer my friend. So that was the beginning of the, okay. It was kind of the beginning of the rejection that I kept on feeling. And then after that, it's one situation after another. I had another good friend. We hung out. But once she got into a club, and after she got into the club, she was like, you hang around me too much. We don't need to be friends. So that was another
girls
rejection.
are the worst.
Another rejection was when a guy, he's just a flirtatious guy, but it was a guy who gave me attention. Didn't get attention in high school from guys. So when he gave me attention, I was like, okay, maybe he likes me. So when I kind of pushed back, he was like, oh no, I'm just playing. So I was like, okay, another rejection. So after those, it just kept on. It was like a snowball from there to me, as far as getting rejected, and over and over and over again. And I kept on doing things. I kept on living my life as far as according to that. So I would do things so people would like me. I was a people pleaser with guys. I would do anything to make them like me. So I really thought I kind of dealt with the rejection, but and I was fine. And I thought, I was like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. So with the guy thing, eventually that came to the self-worth that got me over that. But when I became an insurance agent, dealing with, if anybody's an insurance agent, there's a lot of rejection as an insurance agent. So that kind of stirred up some stuff and made me nervous as far as, okay, is this the right decision? Will people listen to what I want to say and or have to say? So that kind of brought up the rejection again, which kind of shut just the insurance.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, you for a second.
Okay. So it finally hit me, or as far as the rejection kept coming, and I thought I was over the whole best friend thing. But as I started to really reflect and really think about, as far as where did this fear of rejection come from? Why do I have it? Why am I still holding on to it? Even though I've got my master's, I continue to do things as far as being successful and stuff. But I realized that I was cautious as far as what steps I took in my life. And what I mean by that is basically I would do things where I would know the outcome instead of doing things where I wasn't sure the outcome, because I knew if I applied to a job, I would get the job. I knew that if I went to school and did the work, I would get a degree. But if I was an insurance agent going out, I don't know when I would get paid, how long it would take until I get paid. So that was kind of like I don't know if this is the right thing. So that really uncovered some feelings and had me start reflecting as far as where this came from. And that's when I really felt and thought about, as far as the high school incident. That was the beginning of it all. So that pain that I was holding on to, the fear of rejection, prevented me from moving forward earlier as far as going after my dream as far as being an entrepreneur therapist. It prevented me from living my life consciously and not taking risk. It prevented me from looking, or it caused me to look for my self-worth and approval through men. So that really had me stuck and had a hold on my life and hold on me. So I did know that, but I didn't know that. And what I mean by that is I knew it affected me, but I didn't know it affected me this much. So until I realized that, that's when stuff changed. So that's why I want to focus. That's why I say, as far as when you're faced with a difficulty or opportunity that keeps on repeating itself, maybe there's something that's attached to your past experiences that are that cause it or cause you to repeat it. So that's what I wanted to talk about, as far as what is that one thing? What is the root of your fear of rejection? What is the root of your low self-esteem? What is the root of you being cautious and not living the life you want to live? What is that root? Because if you don't identify the roots, you'll only be covering it over with a Band-Aid or just putting dirt over it, and it will keep on rising until you uproot it. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And I'll let Amy go, and then I'll come back with as far as how you can identify and some questions to ask yourself as we close. So,
yeah, well, I want to touch on some things you said, because you brought up like a lot of good points. When you say you have to get to, the root of the problem, it's also, you have to ask yourself the positive spin on that too. Like, if you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you had no fear, what would you do? Because I think when we start to even think like that, we start like getting in our awareness that like, oh, maybe we can, and in terms of like, like you said that, you had to live your life very like planned out for a while. I mean, I was in the exact same boat. One of the big, things in the aftermath of trauma is, people that have been traumatized or just had a difficult time in their life, to sort of compensate for that, they try to make this very thought out, set, like methodical life. Like, I tried to really control my life after this, as a way to sort of compensate for a life that was totally out of my control. And that, that can make you really like OCD. It can make you really anxious. Like, I was very like, my schedule has to be like this, this, and this. And it was really my attempt to sort of set boundaries on a world that for me just felt totally overwhelming, and that I had no boundaries. And then what I realized, talking about transforming, difficulties and opportunities, is really transforming like negative coping skills or like things we shut out into like things that can really help us. I learned like a better way to control like my world is to feel like, I knew who I was. And like, I'll go back to like the creativity and the art, like that, the things that center you, that are constants, those help me make decisions. I mean, my story has so many disappointments, but in life, like we have things that we have things we look forward to. Like, for me, it was the final surgery that I could have where my intestines will be hooked up and I can finally just have a piece of pizza or something, and so, I would think to myself, oh, I'll be happy when I can eat. Oh, then life will be normal. But then I had that surgery, and I still didn't feel normal. And so I would just, place things. Oh, when I get my first job, then I'll feel happy. And we all, whatever our circumstances, I just spent my life thinking that's when I'll find myself. Or like I envied all my friends. I would like stalk them on Facebook, and be like, oh, they graduated college, they have a job. If I do all that, then I'll feel like a real person. Mm-hmm. And that gave me confidence. What I learned later is that I found confidence in my own identity, just trusting that whatever my path ended up being, like that was the right path for me. And I had to own it. A big part of, I'll keep saying, a big part of turning difficulties and opportunities is owning whatever that difficulty was. And then when you own it, it's like, if you got it, flaunt it, make something of it. I mean, I would have never written a musical called Gutless and Grateful. I would have just been waving my hands around in like some Broadway show or something. And that became who I was. And as I started to really tap into the things that like made me happy and not what everyone else was doing, like I did a lot of comparing because, I was jealous of people that didn't have all this crap happen. But when I got out of comparing, I started to actually be happy about, some things that were happening. And it reminded me of when you were saying that, after those rejections, you started to just feel all of those rejections at once. The funny thing about mindset is once we get ourselves in that negative place, like there could have been like maybe some people, weren't so, rejecting you, or maybe there was this obstacle. But, when all we tell ourselves is that I'm going to be rejected, that's all we take in. So I think a big part of our own transformation comes when we're able to like reframe all this. And then we sort of are like a moth to the light with all like the positivity. And that's why for me, like people always say like, oh, if you could give like one like tip to really finding your identity and, out of all this and moving on. I mean, I know it's like cheesy, and I also know people are looking for like a quick thing that they can just start with, but I always say a gratitude list, because that was like a discovery I made really late. It was after my 27th surgery, which again was supposed to be the surgery that was supposed to be, my life is going to be all normal and it's going to fix me up and I'm going to be like Rocky and life is going to be good. But it was a total disaster. Like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And this was right after I premiered my one-woman show in New York. So I was already feeling like, I was done. This was my finale. And then like this surgery, I'm like back in the hospital, lost 30 pounds and have a catheter and life is terrible again. So I was stuck in the hospital for months, and again, I couldn't eat or drink. And so my mom, that's another thing, like having a support system is just, you got to. So I made her start every night, her and I, we listed a page from A to Z, and we wrote a gratitude list every night. And even if we couldn't think of anything, I just made her, let's just think of like, even if it's a stretch, even if W is like windows in the hall. But what I found was, even if it was a stretch mindset, it's putting those things into your awareness where your mind is like, okay, now I'm looking for positive things. And just making that a daily practice, then even without making a gratitude list, I started finding like the positives. And I think that's how we can make our own identity. I think what brings us down is when we start like reaching to other people's identity, then we become like susceptible to like rejection and all that kind of stuff. So that really helped me. And I still, we all go into like bouts of like pitying ourselves and stuff. So I always try to like step outside myself and be like, okay, what's like one thing I can be grateful for? And I'm being honest, it is not always easy. And sometimes it doesn't even happen. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I just hate life and I'll be grateful tomorrow. And that's okay. It's okay. That's my thing.
So did you want to share any other tips, or did you have a one tip that helped you as far as overcoming difficulties or being able to see opportunities and difficulties in your life?
Yeah, I say my gratitude list as like the first thing you can just start if you don't even know where to start. The next, I have like 3 tips. That was gratitude is my first tip. The next tip is stories. As weird as this sounds, first of all, you heal once you start talking to people. If who's in your support system, reach out to them. And it's not only because you'll get their support and stuff. It's when we can like talk about what we're experiencing and just talk about it, we end up like reframing our narrative. Like somehow in having to explain it to someone, we make sense of events in our life that might not seem to make sense at first. So it's like the saying, like you learn something better when you teach it to someone. It's like teaching your story to someone, it makes you feel better about it, that because you have to frame it in a way they can understand. And when you have to frame it like that, it makes you understand it better. So that's a big thing. I mean, that's why, for any of you that have seen me on social media, that's my excuse. I share because it's healthy for me. So let me share. That's why I do all this writing, because it's healing me. So deal with it. No, but and also by hearing the stories of others. That's why I started. If you go to my site, I have like a like a detourist. And if you're a detourist, it means you've had a detour in your life. And every Wednesday I have like a segment where you can actually write in and share your detour, and you're a detourist. And every week as I see those stories, I see that like it's growing a community of people that everyone's detour in that feature is totally different. But they've all had the same kind of discovery that their life is better because they're a detour. So that's just by storytelling. So that's my second thing. And then my third thing is creativity. So I don't mean you have to be like an artist and paint, but I mean to just get in the habit of making something from where there's nothing. And you could call it art, or you could call it lying. And it's okay to say it's lying. But for me, I created hope by basically lying to myself. When doctors were saying they weren't sure if I would ever eat again, I just told myself, okay, in a month I'll be able to eat. And you can either call it like really creative thinking, or you can, call it lying. But what I was doing was I was creating hope when there was nothing there. And, you can, there's medicine and all that kind of stuff. But what else can you do when you don't have hope? You got to make it. And to start getting into that mindset, I think actual creative things, even like doodling, or buy one of those coloring books. They're so trendy right now. So those are my 3 tips: gratitude, stories, creativity. Done. Off to you.
Okay, so basically, like Amy said, as far as, well, there you go. Some tips you can do. Once you identify the pain and you start working towards getting through it, learning how to get past it, give yourself, as far as, like she said, as far as gratitude. So take time thinking about what you're thankful for. And also stories. And actually, I agree with you, Amy, as far as once you keep on telling your story, I've learned for myself that it just becomes a story. It just becomes part of my history rather than something that is actually or that's still holding on to me, or that I'm holding on to. It's just part of my, part of something that happened in my life.
Like your story's not running you.
It almost takes like the power out of it. But you continue to tell the story over and over. It takes the power out of it and a way for you to take back your power as far as living your life and really focusing on or moving past that incident. And then creativity.
It makes you be able to write the story, not the story by you.
Yes, that too. And then creativity, I like that as far as being creative in it. Just what makes you happy. Like, it doesn't have to be the typical what makes other people happy, what truly makes you happy. And do that, do you. And I just wanted to put some stuff out there for you to think about as far as looking at the root, some questions you can ask yourself. So there's some questions that I asked myself when I was going through or trying to get past or starting to, as far as this whole incident with my friend. I asked myself first, what is holding me back? As far as, so basically, what is keeping you stuck from moving forward? What is that thing? For me, it was the fear of rejection that was holding me back. And why do you feel it was holding you back? So it was holding me back because I was living my life cautiously. I was not taking risk. I wasn't sure as far as if I wanted to be an entrepreneur therapist, because I was thinking, does anybody really want to talk, or would anybody really want to talk to a therapist, or do I have something good to say? So that's why, which was attached to the fear of rejection. So that's why I thought it was holding me back. And feelings about it, I was depressed, sad, scared, all those feelings as far as behind that fear of rejection. And then what are your thoughts about it, and how often do you have those thoughts? And then what do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about it, and why? Because I've learned, yes, you might recognize the roots, but until you really know why you want to change, you won't put in the work. You won't put in the work, because I've come across clients who have came to me once and they really know something is wrong and they say they want to change, but in the end they don't. So really think about your why, not because my mom told me to, or not because my friend told me to. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to become a better person? So the questions again is, what do you think is holding you back, and why? And what are your feelings towards it? And how has it affected your life? And then once you do that, some first steps is you could do what Amy said, as far as considering what you're grateful for, and telling your story. If it's not to somebody else, try journaling. Try journaling, writing letters. Do that as a way to tell your story if you're not ready to tell somebody else your story. And then be creative. Be creative as far as doing things that relax you, self-care, and taking care of yourself. So yeah.
When you say journaling, I know journaling can seem really intimidating to a lot of people, because I know you're like me, where you start like a million journals and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to start this whole thing every day. And then you just stop. And then you think about it again, and it's like, oh my God, where do I start? I lived all these days and I have to write about them. For me, I discovered this 3 years ago. There's these little 5-year thought a day journals, where it's for 5 years and it just gives you a line. So that's all you're accountable for. And every day you can just write like a line. And if you miss a few days, you can just catch up. But I started that almost 4 years ago, and like I missed a few days and I fill in here, but it has been so cool, because I can look back like 3 years ago, like before I met my husband, before this, and I can see, oh, this is where I was like exactly a year ago. So that's my recommendation of, like, if you're gonna just like get a journal, get one of those, because also it only lets you do a line, so you can't be intimidated.
Yes, exactly. And journaling, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like everybody else. If you want to put a line, or if you want to skip a day, just look at it as a way to vent. If you can't vent to notebody else, and if you have secrets and you really want to get off your chest, use a journal.
Or do an art journal. Just get a sketchbook and just doodle every day. It doesn't have to be words.
It doesn't have to be words. Or if you want to do videos, but be careful doing videos.
Yeah, but I think the point is that that we're both saying the whole time is, like, anything you're feeling, is totally fine, because it's you. But it's when you run away from it that you build up that fear that, okay, that means I can't engage in any situation where I'm ever going to potentially feel that feeling. And it's letting you live in a box for the rest of your life. Yeah. So when we're saying journaling and gratitude and sharing your story, we're just thinking of different ways that you can really be with that feeling in a way that doesn't hurt you. So, if you have, any ideas, ride a horse, go to the moon, you're like, hey, do your thing. I don't do the moon thing, but it's always, you can feel, and a way that you can validate your feeling. Like, I know, because I do a lot of, work with sexual assault prevention and things like that. And as a survivor myself, the biggest sort of hindrance to my healing is, speaking out and then not being validated or not being believed or wondering what people were going to think of me. And I know just for that, that can set you back, for miles and miles. And I know, unfortunately, it is, not so uncommon for survivors not to be believed. And that really causes a fear in speaking out. Mm-hmm. So, which was awful for me, which is why I'm trying to, start that conversation. But for everything, I think as humans, like, we need to be heard. That's what makes us feel human. And we can't make decisions if we're not feeling human. So I think we all have the potential that, like, you and I are talking about. And I think we hold ourselves back. It's the one thing that makes us not as great as animals, because animals don't really think like we do. Mm-hmm. Animals just run. So just be like a, impala, and just like gallop free.
Yes.
Impala was the only thing I could think of. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know if there's any questions or.
I think we actually said, feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like us, we're still figuring out how to use the darn thing. But after this, one of us will upload this to YouTube. So, like, you can comment, there with all the lovely YouTuber comments or like on our blogs. We should probably, type in our sites in the message thing.
Yes.
So you know where to find us. Mine is amyoes.com, and she will type in hers, and feel free to reach us or comment. And I just gotta say, I think it's so cool because I'm in Connecticut, you're on the other side, and hey, these stories are worldwide, and all you people in between, I know you guys all can relate because we're talking about things that really can help anyone. So it's been great doing this. So yay for us starting our blog.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's all about do it scared, even if you're not sure what you're doing.
Do it scared. Yeah, there's a shout out, right?
Even though you don't know what you're doing. So, okay, so I don't know if you put the questions.
Yeah, no, this right? People just type, "Aw, thank you." This said, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. So
well, thank you. I'm glad we didn't scare you off with our not skill.
yeah, so this,
and it's Mariah Jean's first day on Blab, and I'm going to welcome you by pressing this handy dandy button. But and again, for those that couldn't catch this, just comment on either one of our blogs, and we will, write, and very cool.
Yes. And are there any questions? Are there any questions as far as if you would like to share, as far as if there is a difficulty that you're facing, or feedback, suggestions? We are open to share.
Does anyone do art on the side just for fun, even if they're not an artist? Any journalers out there?
Well, I know I journal, and actually, a friend of mine, there's adult coloring books.
They're so trendy right now.
I know. I was like, I've never heard of that, but they're like really like advanced coloring books for adults.
We're doing a little show and tell. So this is my Thought a Day journal. It's been like 4 years, so obviously the cover has gone. But I love looking through this. I mean, look at that. That's like 4 years right there. So I mean, it's just it's a little investment, and it's fun.
So somebody on Periscope says she does the journaling, and she does the adult coloring book. Is the adult coloring book with the shapes and it's all advanced rather than like children's or more cartoon characters and animals and stuff?
I like the cartoon thing. You can find they're all different themes.
I'm going to check that out. I've never. Yeah. Let's see. And yes, if you have any questions on Periscope, feel free. Okay, pretty intricate. Because I saw one before. I was like, oh, that's really advanced.
Yeah, I know. I mean, honestly, my thing is, I'd rather just get a piece of white paper and take some crayons and just doodle. I mean, I don't like to pay for a whole book, but hey, do your thing.
Yes.
Do some chalk. Do some chalkboarding.
I know. And it's okay for adults to color. It's okay.
It's cool.
Sometimes we have to escape from all the stress in our lives and all the responsibility just to be a kid again.
Listen, it's all about seeing things differently. Sometimes we can't always figure out the answers by writing a whole essay on it. It's a way for us to sometimes my head is so overwhelmed with words that I just need to, people do mind mapping, or some people are just visual learners. Just by making a web, they get their idea. That's art,
Yes.
My husband, he's an engineer and he makes all these graphs and stuff. I think that's art. I couldn't do it.
So, are there any questions? Because if not, I'm done. Are you done, Amy? If there's no questions?
I'm done, and we are actually in Connecticut expecting a blizzard, so I gotta bolt out of my house and do some last minute shopping with all the crazy shoppers.
Okay, is that all East Coast? Because it sounds like it's all East Coast, or
who is that? Yeah, no, it I think it is, because everyone's freaking out. Oh, that's my that's my mother calling me saying we got to go food shopping.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm done. But if there's no other questions, I actually wanted to leave you guys with a poem that I kind of. Oh, that's great! Thank you. You're welcome. Somebody said that this is great. Thank you guys.
Aw, I'm so glad.
Yes. So if there's no other questions or comments, I just wanted to close out with this poem before everybody goes on their way and before Amy goes food shopping. So the name of the poem is Don't Quit. And I kind of felt that this kind of ties into turning difficulties and opportunities as far as do not allowing those difficult times to keep you stuck and just end up quitting and forgetting about it, but just keep on moving no matter what. So the poem goes, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learn. And many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up through the pacing slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to faint and falter man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down. He close he was to the golden crown. How close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. Is when things seem worse that you must not quit.
Love it.
So that is type, and I don't know who that's by. I think I do, but I don't. But on this it says author unknown. But the title of the poem is "Don't Quit."
Don't quit.
So yeah, so don't quit. Don't quit.
Don't quit. Now we're gonna quit it. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and it'll be up. We'll with our joint tech savvy, we'll figure out how to put this on YouTube or something.
Yes.
And thank you guys, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank everyone. Yes, thank you. So stay tuned for future endeavors for both of us, and we will keep you guys updated.
And give us your feedback, like if there's something else you want us to talk about, or if you thought this was awesome or terrible or in between. I'm sure you don't think it was terrible. But all right, have a good night, people.
Yes, bye. Bye, everyone.